4 days passed since Kim Dokja left. The fortress still remained, and no signs of destruction were visible. The sky of paradise was more peaceful than ever, and it was even languid. Lee Gil-young looked at the sky and spoke in a dark voice. "We've been abandoned. The little boy is starting again. Dokja Hyung threw us away." Lee Gil-young was in a depressed state and had been repeating those words for 2 days. Lee Ji-hee frowned from where she was sharpening her blade nearby. "Why are you making such a fuss?" Lee Gil-young replied, "Do you know when a protagonist will leave his colleagues behind?" "When?" "When a colleague will interfere." "We're now judged as useless." "How is Ajashi a protagonist? Honestly, Master is more suitable to be the protagonist. In addition, this isn't a novel." Lee Ji-hee grunted, but her expression wasn't bright either. In the past 4 days, the group was calm. It was a drug-like peace. It was so peaceful that they felt calm. Nobody threatened them, and there was nothing in the world to worry about. They trained their skills from time to time and recalled the advice Kim Dokja had left for them. Gil-young is lacking skills persistence. If you have coins left, try to place them in patience or indomitable persistence. You can use the exchange or ask your sponsor to help you. Ji-hee, you are too biased towards agility. If you have surplus coins, invest in strength and magic power. Your battle style will change depending on where you invest. Yu-sung, focus on raising taming and advanced diverse communication to the maximum level. If you need other skills related to taming, tell me at any time. Was it due to Lee Gil-young's words? The uneasy Lee Ji-hee poked Shin Yu-sung sitting right next to her. "Hey, little beast." Shin Yu-sung, who had been using advanced diverse communication due to Kim Dokja's advice, suddenly woke up. "What is it?" They might be in the same party, but Shin Yu-sung didn't like Lee Ji-hee, who was rude to Kim Dokja. Lee Ji-hee was embarrassed by the look in Shin Yu-sung's eyes and said, "Hey, don't look at me like that. I have to ask you something." "What is it?" "Do you know what Dokja Ajashi is doing?" Shin Yu-sung's eyes widened at the unexpected question. Lee Ji-hee continued, "You are his incarnation, so I was wondering if you knew anything. Originally, incarnations get information on the sponsor whenever the sponsor and incarnation's synchronization increases." In fact, Lee Ji-hee also shared Yi Sun-sin's memories whenever she used the Duke of Loyalty and Warfare stigma. In the end, the core of the story was the stigma. It was inevitable to know the story of the constellation every time the power was used. Shin Yu-sung desperately tried to choose her words before barely opening her mouth. "Ajashi, he is a lonely person." "Hey, anyone could say that." "He also likes reading books." "Books?" "Yes, countless pages appear whenever I think of Ajashi. I'm not sure what it is. I can't see the page contents." Shin Yu-sung hesitated and lowered her head. "I still don't know that much. I haven't received a stigma yet." "I didn't ask to discourage you." Lee Ji-hee patted Shin Yu-sung's shoulder and once again realized reality. Only one person left, but the whole atmosphere of the party changed. As a member, they had to survive as well. If it weren't for Ajashi, everything would be over already. She looked around and noticed that everyone was uneasy. The 2 children who depended on Kim Dokja, the soldier who only knew the manual, the female swordsman who was unable to properly cope with her power. The constellation Maritime War God criticizes the patriotism of the incarnation Lee Ji-hee. Lee Ji-hee scoffed and blocked her ears, shouting, "La la 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 la," to tune it out. "By the way, this soldier is going at it again." Lee Hyung-sung was staring blankly at something. Lee Ji-hee knew what he was looking at and relaxed. It might not be a bad thing to temporarily relax. "Hey, kid." Lee Ji-hee watched Lee Hyung-sung approaching, and something suddenly opened her mouth. "Do you want me to show you something fun?" For the past 4 days, Jung Hee-won had nightmares. The monsters were overwhelming, and the dream of paradise was destroyed. Once she woke up, Kim Dokja's sword of judgment was crying. Several times, Reinheit had come to her and asked her to be the chief of the fortress's security. However, Jung Hee-won refused the request. The reason was because the sword of judgment only cried out when there was evil nearby. Jung Hee-won sat on a low slate roof and looked at the scenery of paradise. There was nothing that could be seen as evil in the city. Hee-won-shi, do you have any worries? When did he come? The bright-faced Lee Hyung-sung was standing beside her. It's so peaceful that I have a lot of thoughts. Me too. The two people were silent for a moment. An awkward atmosphere flowed. A strange current had flowed between them ever since Lee Hyung-sung saved Jung Hee-won, who had gone berserk thanks to Nirvana. However, neither of them exactly knew what this current was. The constellation, demon-like judge of fire, dislikes the actions of the incarnation Lee Hyung-sung. The constellation, demon-like judge of fire, is warning Master of Steel. The constellation, Master of Steel, says this isn't a matter to get involved in. She looked down and saw Lee Ji-hee and the children hiding. What are those guys doing over there? Jung Hee-won was about to call out to them when Lee Hyung-sung opened his mouth first. I think there's a reason for this peace. You seem to believe that Dokja didn't just leave us here. Dokja is such a person. It is our job to find out the reason. She thought using common sense, but couldn't figure it out. It was related to why Dokja left them here in paradise, but she couldn't see what the problem was. At this moment, noise from a group of people below the roof disturbed her. Return the scenario! We want to go to the next floor! Jung Hee-won frowned. They were people who felt discontent towards the peaceful paradise. They were the protesters of paradise. They didn't have a representative catchphrase, but they intermittently appeared in paradise. Jung Hee-won couldn't understand it. Why did they want to go back to the scenario? She opened her mouth. I think I should go down. A fight might start. I understand. By the time Jung Hee-won descended, bloodshed was already happening. However, it wasn't from a fight. It was a one-sided assault. The guards were beating up the protesters. Jung Hee-won was upset by the excessive force and stopped a guard. Wait a minute! Calm down and back off. This is too much. I am performing official business. Don't interrupt. The chief guard removed Jung Hee-won's hand and gathered the fallen protesters. The protesters were placed into small wagons and seemed to be transported somewhere. Catch all those who ran away. I will take all these people. What about that woman? The captain guard looked at Jung Hee-won and shook his head. Leave it alone. This is an order from the Lord. Not long afterwards, some protesters who ran away were caught. There was an unexpected figure among them. I'm not a protester. I was just passing by accidentally. Daeyoung! Daeyoung! They were the family from Gyamho Station. Jung Hee-won shouted, Wait a minute! That person isn't a protester. Then the guard said, You are a protester. You panicked and ran away when we chased you. If there is no sin, why did you run away? That's right. The guard captain nodded and started to give instructions again. Jung Hee-won shouted, No, it's natural to be scared and run away when you are suddenly chased. It will be revealed later. There is no time, so transport them. I said to wait. Despite the Lord's command, I will arrest you if you interfere one more time. Funnily enough, Jung Hee-won stopped at the word arrest. She didn't know why. Was it because she had been thrown into the wild for so long and suddenly returned to society? The woman judged she couldn't stop the situation and shouted, The child didn't do anything wrong. Please release the child. The guard captain briefly paused at the woman's scream. He thought for a moment before ordering, Leave the child alone. The guards nodded and only took away the woman. The child watched her mother going further away and started to cry. Mother! Daeyoung, listen up. Mother will be back soon, understood? Just wait there. I will... Her mother's voice went further away. As Jung Hee-won belatedly tried to chase them, some of the watching merchants stepped in. Young lady, don't bother. It's useless. This is the law of paradise. Where are they going? They're going to Paradise's dungeon. Dungeon? Access is prohibited for everyone except the guards. No one has ever returned from there. Tss, tss. She's pitiful, but she should have lived well. The merchant showed a lukewarm reaction and scattered. Jung Hee-won stood blankly for a moment before approaching the crying child. She wondered what to do and hesitantly grasped the crying child's hand. Something popped in her head the moment she felt the warm texture. This was paradise? I think I know what I have to do. She looked back and saw Yi Ji-hee and the others. All of them had expressions like they had found their own scenario. Lee Hyung-sung said, I think it will be a big deal, but I don't know if we'll be okay. Dokja, she believed in us. Maybe he's doing something bigger. He's always like that. That's right, I'm sure Hyung is fighting monsters alone with a serious face. Kim Dokja wouldn't leave without a reason. It might be to protect people from the threat, or to break the scenario. No matter the reason, Kim Dokja would be desperately risking his life at the moment. Finally, Jung Hee-won opened her mouth. Let's try it together this time. They couldn't rely on Kim Dokja every time. Kim Dokja would obviously be performing a hellish scenario in a place that wasn't here. Hey, Kim Dokja, this is Honey. You really didn't live like this before? On the vast plains, a sports car with a loud engine was moving. Yes. In the past 3 days, we had captured 3 hidden scenarios on the BIS plains. The strategy itself wasn't difficult. It was because, unlike what I had done so before, all the future information I knew was completely accurate. This guy's weakness came out in the 34th regression. If we press the 3 small dots on his back, his attack range is dangerous, but he will reveal a gap after using a ranged attack. The weakness of the boss is the anus. I was more comfortable because I was with Han Soo-young. Okay, it's the anus. I didn't have to explain why I knew the information. Han Soo-young didn't doubt what I told her. As a result, we got 2 star relics. One was an SSS-grade star relic that was only useful as a star relic on these planes. SSS class Ferraragini. This car was a SSS class item created by the mass production maker. The SSS class magic turret installed on the front and the rear were useful for destroying a large number of enemies, as well as moving as fast as Way of the Wind without using magic power. Thanks to it, we could enjoy the feeling of driving through the plains. What should I say? It was a top-grade regressor course. I once again felt resentful towards Yoo Jin-hyuk. He had been enjoying this type of thing while I broke the scenario. Han Soo-young was even more excited than me. She stood up on the passenger seat and raised her arm, shouting, I will never be a pushover. I will only live selfishly for myself. I wanted to tackle that faithful regressor mindset of, you only live for yourself. Many constellations are pleased with Incarnation Han Soo-young's exciting remarks. Many constellations agree with her behavior. 20,000 coins have been acquired. The monsters that came running exploded from the Ferraragini's magic bullet. Han Soo-young was pleased at collecting coins and shouted towards the sky. Kim Dokja, say something as well. When will you feel like this again? I hesitated for a moment. I was somewhat embarrassed, but I agreed with Han Soo-young's words. If I thought about it, my life had never gone well. I had always suffered from overtime. Forget a Ferrari. I used public transport because I had no money to buy a used car. Thus, I felt it as well. I hesitated before shouting in a timid voice, I am the protagonist! The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire covers her eyes with embarrassment. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband considers moving channels. The constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is taken with your chuny words. Shit, why couldn't I feel it? By the way, things must have happened in paradise by now. This was the flow of the original novel, and the party members would probably do well. Things had been working out recently. If this continued, the scenario would be cleared in a flash. A huge fate is hoping for your death. What?